What it do, anime crew? Amen. Listen, today I'm doing a rant request for Ev on Patreon. Ev basically told me to rant about whatever's on my mind at the current moment. For one thing, I want to say this. One thing on my mind immediately right now is that I appreciate rant requests like this, because Ev does rants of his own. And he knows how much it can be to juggle and how annoying it can be to get it done when there's something you don't really want to talk about at the end of the month, or 9 days into the subsequent month. You know how it goes. So I appreciate that, and I'm trying to return the favor moving forward with some reasonable rants that'll be like pretty fun for him. I know Neon's really been locking in with the rants for a long time now. He suggests a lot of good ones. Maybe I'll take some inspiration from him. But yeah. I don't know. I'm watching Tomiyura. I'm not watching Tomiyura right now. I'm watching Aria right now. Same director as Tomiyura, and I was planning on making a Tomiyura video because it's one of my favorite anime. But then I started watching Poppy the Performer, 2000, like 2000 absurdist CG anime comedy with like a really disturbing and dark atmosphere that never goes explicitly horror, but is like super deeply entrenched in the uncanny valley. I believe it may have been a strong inspiration. I know it was a strong inspiration for the Amazing Digital Circus, so I fear it may be very marketable. So I believe I'm going to actually make a Poppy the Performer video because I do really, really like it. A Tomiyura video will always be possible, though. I'm always going to have a lot of things to say about that show. Though maybe it would be better if I'd seen more of Junichi Sato's other stuff before I do that, because I kind of want to do like a full directorial spotlight if I do talk about Tomiyura, because when I think about Tomiyura, I think of it as like the baby of Junichi Sato. He wrote and directed it, and he funded all these seasons despite the fact that it ostensibly wasn't even that popular. But yeah, Tomiyura is so good. It's just the main thing I like to say about Tomiyura is that it genuinely feels like it comes from a place of wanting to make the viewer a better person. It genuinely wants the viewer to live a happier, more fulfilling life, and does everything it can to try to get through to its viewer and help them do that. It's gentle, it's intelligent, it's emotionally sensitive. It's perfect at that. I like to think of the character arc of Fu and how unbelievably long it takes for her to develop, but how realistic it is, and how many things you realize about her, like by the end of the show, that you would have never noticed before because they're just her little idiosyncrasies. Like the fact that once the banter really starts happening, Fu will never interject unless spoken to. They point that out in one episode. It's like, oh yeah, I guess that is a part of her personality that, in another context, you wouldn't be able to appreciate, or you might not even notice, is a change you've made and a development you've made as a person, becoming more confident, that you wouldn't be able to appreciate. It shines a light on the subtler, more unsung aspects of self-improvement that come up over time, which I think is pretty cool. And it's hope core, it's beautiful, it's soothing, it's immersive, it teaches you to capture the moment. It's a beautiful metaphor for slice of life and somewhat escapist, nostalgic media in general with the photography. It's about staying in the moment whilst honoring the past and being able to live proudly enough to be able to like make plans for your future and build a better future for yourself, because of the fact that you are in the present, you're not dwelling in the past, and you're constantly making an effort to do something whilst still making sure that everything that's happened to you in your life you've internalized and you've let it affect you and help you grow, basically. And it's a beautiful show. I almost respect it more for its mission statement than the final product. Like I appreciate that so much. And like there's elements of Tomiyura that aren't as perfect to me. Like during season 2, Tomiyura, season 3-ish, Tomiyura More Aggressive, some of the shot compositions get a little bit less dynamic. The blocking isn't as intentional. Some of the voice actors that were more prominent in that season got a little bit grating to me. But at the end of the day, it's like then you have those high moments like the final movie. The final movie of Tomiyura is seriously like one of the best pieces of animation I've ever seen. Not necessarily specifically in the visual sense, but just animes in general. It's so beautiful. It's the full circle moment of everything this entire series has subtly and realistically worked up to, and that final moment where you're able to look back and appreciate the entire legacy that Fu has built as a child as she journeys into adulthood confidently. And it's not really sad. It's hardly even that melancholic, honestly. It's like saying farewell to her childhood and her childhood town and all that, but it somehow manages to be purely hopeful. Purely hopeful. There was no sadness to that. There was a couple of heartbreaking scenes in there, but overall, it's just such such a beautiful message about how she has internalized the entire town that she grew up in, and was so intentional about everything that it will never leave her. It will always be within her heart, just as it is on the photos she's strewn about her room with Rio. So it's beautiful. Everyone should watch it. But this Poppy shit's pretty good too. I really like how it's a circus. So the parallels with the Amazing Digital Circus are very clear. I mean, there's some scenes that are literally one-to-one. Well, really just one scene that's a one-to-one reference, and I know the creator has explicitly gone out of their way to state that that was a major inspiration for them. I'm looking into right now, I saw a Mal review that mentioned one of the main inspirations for Poppy the Performer being an old commercial, so I'm definitely going to check that out. I'm going to probably do like a little like light history on it, little light deep dive on the origins of it, but I really just want to use the Amazing Digital Circus as a marketing tool to be able to spotlight this little interesting CG weird comedy with a very unique tone. Like, I really respect the tone of Poppy. It's something that I don't believe I've ever seen before, and it's something that only could have happened during that time when CG looked the way that it did, given the circumstances. It became popular because the people who were creating it didn't realize they were supposed to be creating a kids show. And it was also a really rushed production, and they just had to put it out there, and it was like, damn, okay, this is not safe for kids, like, at all. Like, there's like this, not at all, but there's like a lot of blood, dismemberment, psychotic tendencies exhibited by both main characters, mostly Poppy. Just a lot of like really disturbing stuff, and it definitely intentionally leverages that Uncanny Valley art style and vibe to enhance the horror and comedy of it. It's supposed to be stakes. It's dramatic. It's the comedy and the tragedy. And it's very. The first season is very lonely. And then the second season starts to get weird because Poppy's dad, who's also named Poppy but spelled differently because he's like Poppy, comes in. But before that, it's really interesting because Poppy's only friend is this little wolf creature that wears a mask over his face. And I'll talk about this all in a fucking Poppy rant later. But kind of resembles the drama mask. It reminds me of an imaginary friend. It makes sure that, for one thing, as like from a character design perspective, all the faces here look uncanny. It's unescapable during this era of CG and the budget that this show had. So he just has like these masks on his face that like fall off when he wants to change expressions, and they're just like Sharpied on there. And it's really cute. But also it makes him look a lot less intimidating. You can see his like nasty teeth. Like, you can tell he's like a scary looking fella behind the mask, but it makes it so that he has that more docile, less intimidating character design than any of the others, because the others all look like little freaks. But yeah, mostly just reiterating stuff I've already said in my Tommy Euro rant and talking about Poppy the Performer. I think those are going to be some videos that I make for sure at some point, and hopefully they'll both be coming soon. I think I'm going to go with the Poppy one for now, though, because I think it's very marketable. Ev, if you do watch this, let me know what you think. Is before we had the Digital Circus, we had this, or the underground anime, the CG anime that inspired Digital Circus, or I don't know. Do you think it's marketable? Let me know.